No, you could never have prepared me for this.
Our world has been turned upside down. We are not criminals.
We have over 20,000 people, a list of people who are legally prohibited from owning or possessing those firearms. Some of the most dangerous people on our streets.
We were getting ready for bed. Who would expect 9 officers to come to your house at 8 o'clock at night? We were not a threat.
They were fully armed. They surrounded the house. They were absolutely ready for action.
So they're coming to your house because your name was in the registered firearm owner database and your name was in the prohibited persons database.
What we did is we merged those lists. And I'm going after them.
No search warrant because there's no probable cause.
My wife would have never let them in knowing what we know now.
They wanted to come in here and see criminal activity and take guns away from the criminals. I was not that case.
They were either going to leave with my guns or my wife.
This whole freaking apps thing is not doing anybody any good. I'm all for taking dirtbags off the street, but I'm telling you, the majority of this crap, I never even came across a hardcore dirtbag.
It's unreal. They come into my home, scare us, embarrass me in the neighborhood, and take our guns. For what?
This is where the nightmare began for the Phillips family. Lynette came here to Charter Oak Hospital voluntarily at the request of her doctor to get her medication changed.
I went in there voluntarily, and they then put me in involuntary. That's what started it.
And unbeknownst to the Phillips, Lynette ended up on the DOJ's Armed Prohibited Persons List, the APPS program.
In these cases, we're talking about someone that we know is in possession of a firearm and has been either convicted of a felony or found by a court to be mentally ill or both.
I am a nurse, never been in trouble a day in my life. I have anxiety disorder.
The background check should tell them that I'm not a criminal. The background with my wife should have told them she's not a criminal. She's not mentally ill.
I didn't know there was a list. There was one gun registered to me that I bought for my husband years ago for Christmas. And because of that, that's why they came.
And my son and I go out. We shoot skeets, we shoot targets. Absolutely, they're going after the wrong people. I have nothing.
We have 2 pieces of paper.
They took 3 guns. They took 2 handguns and a shotgun. They took my rights away, my Second Amendment.
This is registration that has led to confiscation.
I think it is a confiscation. I think it's confiscation under the guise of safety.
The biggest fundamental problem with this system is this false presumption that criminals are going to register their firearms in the first place. It's not working.
98% of the people that I dealt with during the firearm sweep, I wouldn't even look at if I was on patrol. It absolutely is ridiculous. APPS cases. Give me a break. That is not how you curtail crime.
Did the agents give you any indication that they knew this was a mistake?
I think they all felt that clearly we were not criminals and this shouldn't be happening. I even said, so it took you 3 months to come to my house when you were notified back in December.
At first, they treated us like we were criminals, but they left knowing that we were not a threat.
But they took your guns.
But they took my guns.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for me when I was doing it. Out of all the cases I did, at least 100. Maybe 4 or 5 I felt comfortable with, seriously. And I'm telling you, if I stayed in the DOJ and they asked me to do another firearm sweep, I'd give them the middle finger and I wouldn't do it.
Just a waste of money, overkill. Maybe they should do some research. They would have found we were model citizens, and they would have found my wife was not mentally ill.
I think it is overbroad, overreaching, and absolutely there's an intimidation factor there that makes you not trust law enforcement too. You know, that's a slippery slope to go down.
This has always been a numbers game in terms of how many firearms they seize. But the reality is the number of accidental felons in California has gone up dramatically because of the complication of California's firearms laws. That's not justice.
$24 million of public money to get guns off the streets.
We are going to now hire 36 more agents.
Why should I pay for them to come take my guns away? And that's what they're doing.
What they've done is raid those fees that were overpaid by people to do background checks, once again mischaracterizing the APPS program as getting violent and dangerous criminals as opposed to just people like poor Lynette.
The APPS program is the only of its kind in the United States. We need to put in place common sense laws, and they need to be universal.
California is the petri dish where they grow these bad ideas, and Kamala Harris is already shopping this program federally. The APPS program is an excuse for universal registration. She sent a letter to the vice president urging him to adopt the California program at the federal level, and a prerequisite for that is universal firearm registration.
California shouldn't be a role model. Absolutely not.
Take it from somebody that's actually been on the street, actually arrested people, literally been involved in thousands of arrests. What's happening with these apps cases has nothing to do with hardcore criminals or gang members or murderers, and I've seen all those people. Do not use the apps program.
And the arrest statistics from DOJ bear this out. There are very few prosecutions resulting from the apps program.
I think we're at a crossroads now to where people are going to have to educate themselves about what they can and can't do when they're confronted by law enforcement, especially in your own home. I mean, that's the premise of the Fourth Amendment.
Looking back, there will be no officers coming in this house unless they have a warrant.
I feel I was violated. I was guilty until proven innocent is the way it's worked in this case. This is justice. I'm just so disillusioned by our government right now.
We were definitely violated. My rights have been taken away. There's no way for me to protect my home. I cannot protect my family.
They took something from me, and now I feel like I'm fighting against the government in order to have my rights restored, our guns given back to us.
There is no trust. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone.
I'm actually very scared. They took my sense of security. They took everything I thought this country was about. It's now tainted.